SpaceX's telescope, Elon Musk's newest reveal. A new SpaceX Starship rocket is not going to be just a rocket, but a telescope too. In a recent question at Twitter, a person asked Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX, regarding this Starship. The person asked, "Have you looked at a variant of Starship that is essentially the Probe 2? Instead of paying to build two things, could a deep space Starship incorporate those science instruments? Reduce the cost even a little more for science missions?" Hello and welcome back to TechSphere, guys. Today we are going to talk about Elon Musk's new revolution that his Starship is going to take the Hubble telescope's throne in the near future. So stay with us until the end of the video. So when the question was asked, Starship Elon Musk answered that question. Yeah, that would be cool. Also, using ship itself as structure for new giant telescope that's 10 times Hubble resolution. Was talking to Saul Perlmutter, who's awesome, and he suggested wanting to do that. A Starship that was previously named a Big Falcon rocket, or BFR, mainly because it was planned to be bigger than Falcon Heavy and carry heavier payloads. Initially, it was hoped to carry passengers around the globe, as well as the solar system. Elon Musk wanted to use Starship to take people on international space missions and eventually to bases on the Moon, Mars, and beyond that has yet to be built. But now, this Starship is not just a ride, but Elon has decided to make it into a telescope too. After a technical fault, NASA's aging Hubble Space Telescope had to put its scientific research on hold last month. Scientists at NASA are scrambling to find a solution to get the telescope back on track. Musk previously detailed his ambitions for the Mars-bound rocket, saying that it would serve as a dedicated deep space version that would be refueled in orbit, allowing SpaceX to launch rockets that could hold even heavier objects to destinations that are far away, including the Moon and Mars. Now, the ultimate target of Elon is to make the Starship the ideal rocket. According to NASA's Launch Service Program, which issued a chart comparing the performance of various rockets, including SpaceX's Falcon Heavy. According to the statistics, SpaceX's Falcon Heavy, a heavy-lift derivative of the company's mainstay Falcon 9 rocket, can deliver over 26,000 pounds all the way to Mars in an expendable version. However, a Starship could virtually double that amount. If all goes according to plan, it will increase tenfold. SpaceX has to do a lot before launching Starship as an ideal rocket. According to Musk, astronomer Saul Perlmutter of Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory first proposed the option of turning a Starship spacecraft into a giant space telescope, and Elon obviously liked the idea very much. And what would we call it? A Hubble successor or a Starship aka giant telescope? Well, it would soon be called something as soon as it came into existence. Earlier, the first prototype of the Starship was made ready to reach orbit for the first time, with a scheduled splashdown in the Pacific off the coast of Hawaii, and said, like its Falcon 9 predecessor, if it established a reliable platform, Starship has the potential to push the bounds of astronomy by carrying on Hubble's legacy in orbit. But recently the testing of the prototype took place. Therefore, have been several setbacks along the way, such as the explosion of a few Starship prototypes. Elon Musk and SpaceX launched the SN-11 Starship prototype in March, only for it to be destroyed upon landing. The Starship SN-15 landed successfully 2 months later. Along with many other versions regarding Starships, the one big mission is to take people to Mars and build a city there. Although Elon hasn't mentioned about how life on Mars is going to be, but hey, he has decided to take us there, so he might come up with that soon too. While the idea of building a human colony on Mars may raise some questions, Elon Musk has already said that he plans to achieve so with the Starship before 2030. He also stated that he intends for the Mars base to be self-sufficient. Self-sufficient base? Musk has spoken at 2 International Aeronautical Congress meetings on his ideas for a major city on Mars, but he has yet to provide any details about life on the Red Planet. He has stated that SpaceX is primarily concerned in delivering transportation while leaving the infrastructures to others. Gwen Shotwell, the business's president, suggested that SpaceX's sister company, the Boring Company, build tunnels on Mars that could be used for human habitation. Elon Musk's futuristic approach is admired by many, even if they hold impediments or impossibilities. A person commented with the name Joey Garza. "Normally I'd say we'll never get to Mars and build a base. Pfft, hell, we won't even build one on the Moon." But Elon Musk is the only one capable of making me think that not only is it possible, based on everything he's accomplished so far, but inevitable. All the governments with all their current space programs combined can't move me in the way Elon's drive and vision for the future have. And it truly boggles my mind how much I admire this man. So this shows how much people are concerned about his ideas and SpaceX. The idea of building a city on Mars has been proposed for 2 decades, but Elon Musk is finally working on it. In July 2019, before Starship, its prototype Starhopper left the ground and hovered for the first time at a height of about 20 meters, and then landed a few kilometers away at SpaceX's test facility in South Texas. Later, a few more tests were observed in late 2019 and mid-2020. On December 10, 2020, a prototype that looked more like a rocket made its first high-altitude flight. The prototype SN8 successfully flew to a height similar to that of commercial planes' cruising altitude before landing with a unique flip maneuver. However, it arrived too quickly, and the flight terminated in a spectacular explosion. We might expect a couple more of these high-flying tests in 2021, with the goal of perfecting the landing and reaching orbit as soon as possible. Elon Musk has so much in his mind. He also says that SpaceX has investigated connecting starships together in space to generate a sort of artificial gravity for passengers on multi-month flights between planets, as well as converting whole starships into all-in-one orbital observatories with a magnitude greater than Hubble. At least some elements of the physical community are already investigating the potential afforded by developing Starship as a sort of foundation or spacecraft bus that might carry and run enormous scientific payloads, as mentioned during discussions with astrophysicist and Nobel winner Saul Perlmutter. While Starship has been mentioned as a variable contender for launch services for significant future missions on multiple occasions, this notion would see Starship serve as the spacecraft itself. It wouldn't be out of the question at that point to entrust starships to serve as long-term scientific spacecraft utilizing a bus that could provide ample power, propulsion, thermal management, navigation, and communications capabilities to any hosted payloads. This might include, among other things, heavily modifying starships on the ground to forming massive space observatories. Before Starship and many other Falcons, Falcon 1 was the very first rocket of SpaceX and orbited Earth for the first time on September 28, 2008. This opened the way for the Falcon 9, a 9-engine version of the rocket that has been the company's workhorse since its debut in 2010. The Falcon 9 is a 2-stage orbital rocket that has been used to launch satellites for businesses and governments, restock the International Space Station, and even carry the U.S. Air Force's super-secret spacecraft on long missions. More than 80 Falcon 9 missions have been flown by the business in the last 9 years. Do not forget the SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft that has delivered cargo to the International Space Station. And on May 31, 2020, its Crew Dragon became the first commercial spacecraft to deliver astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley to the ISS. In addition, Dragon was the first commercial spacecraft to be recovered after a mission into orbit. The first flight with humans aboard was a success. Hurley and Behnken returned to the Earth on the Dragon a few months later. And in November 2020, another crew of 4 astronauts, including one from Japan's JAXA, made the second voyage to orbit on a Crew Dragon. It must not be easy for Elon to take care of everything at once. Let me enlighten you with the fact that Elon, along with SpaceX, is the founder of Tesla as well, and his active participation in cryptocurrency is also evident. If we just take a look at how SpaceX came into existence, it's not very long ago when Musk and his buddies went to Russia in 2002 to purchase a reconditioned intercontinental ballistic missile. At the time, the Silicon Valley genius, who made millions from online businesses, wasn't looking to establish a company. He wanted to spend a large portion of his fortune, if not all of it, on a stunt he hoped would rekindle interest in NASA and space research. The goal was to acquire a cheap Russian rocket and use it to launch plants or mice to Mars, with the hope of returning them safely. The spectacle should, in theory, reawaken interest in space around the world. Musk's meeting in Moscow, however, did not go well, and he opted to develop his own rockets, figuring that he would be able to undercut existing launch contractors in the process. So what is your take on this matter? Will SpaceX be able to make the Starship an ideal rocket what they are claiming it to be? Tell us in the comments. If you want to see our upcoming videos, subscribe to our channel, ring the bell icon, and don't forget to like our video as well. That's all from my side. Thanks for watching.